Buongiorno, Stefano. How are you?
I'm very good, Victor. Very good, I can say today.
Excellent. Well, for people who aren't familiar with Barcelona Metropolitan, we love to interview people who are basically dedicated to providing really cool services or doing really fascinating things and helping the international community here in Barcelona and Spain. And it's really exciting to speak with you because basically you've dedicated your life to doing this, to helping expats in different parts of the world at a company called Monx that you founded. And I want to introduce you to I guess to our community here in Barcelona. But at this time, I think I'm do it a little different. Could you introduce yourself, say for 30 seconds, about what you're doing, who you are, and what you would like to achieve today, Stefano?
My name is Stefano, as you already know. I'm Italian, but I grew professionally in Hong Kong, Asia. Right off my internship after university, I set up my little small accounting firm back in 2003. I was the only Italian accountant there in Hong Kong, so I dominated my little niche. And from there, I went from 1 to 2,000 clients, and not just Italian. We started with Italian, and then we kept focusing on the expat community. Then from Hong Kong, we scaled to China, Singapore, and UK, Barcelona. So our focus has always been giving top-notch accounting and tax services for tax nomads, entrepreneurs in Spain, in Italy, and pretty much all around the world. Now we are a global community of accountants, tax accountants. We provide democratic priced service, accounting and tax services, with a very special eye on tax nomadism. Now that people travel globally and they don't know where to pay their taxes, or where they don't know how to pay their taxes on the cryptocurrencies transactions. So we are trying to evolve, being tech savvy, and I think I went beyond the 30 seconds, and you will
That's
excuse
okay.
me for that.
No, that's perfect. You
I
summarized a lot
forgot.
in 30.
I forgot to tell you what I want to achieve today. I want to give everyone around an idea of a refreshed form of accounting professionals, because I know that in the brain of all people, the accountant and the tax advisor is gloomy, is sad, is
Right.
low. We are cool, we are fresh, we work remotely, we are faster than average, we are highly qualified, everybody is like with big full background, and we wear hoodies and monk shirt. We don't need to wear a suit. Most importantly, we're
Excellently done.
democratic and tech savvy.
Well, let me ask you this. What motivated you to launch Monks, and how's it differentiating itself now, in these services that you just mentioned, accounting and tax and cryptocurrencies?
Look, just the name, monks. Monks like the monks. The monks. You know who invented accounting? The same
I
people
would
that
imagine the
invented the.
Dominicans.
Very good. The monks, actually from Franciscanan, they invented both accounting and beer. So you should be proud of them. In the 14th century, a little guy called Fra Luca Pacioli from Tuscany invented accounting. What we want, why we call monks, is because we want to serve. It's from corporate service to corporate servants. For many years, the accounting and tax profession has been seen as something up here that it's not accessible, it's complicated. We want to simplify, we want to democratize, we want to commoditize, and we want to give full time, full access H24 service. So we want to be the most customer centric accounting firm on the planet. Not we want to be, we are already. With that deception and the distortion of reality that we had, not just me, but me and my team had. Right now, I can tell you for sure that we are by far the most responsive accounting firm on earth. Also the fastest because we all run.
Excellent. Well, you started. That was kind of leads to my next question. Um, in terms of the focus on international taxation, the subject, if you could expand on what you said before, there's increased international mobility. Expats are trying to live in different places, not necessarily
Correct.
for just tax reasons, but for lifestyle reasons, and because in an increasingly complex and interconnected world, they find themselves in multiple tax jurisdictions. So, can you introduce how you are differentiating yourself or expand on it a little bit?
Yeah. Okay. When you talk about global taxation, there are two issues. One is the immigration issue, and one is the tax issue. All right. By principle, taxation follows the center of the vital interest. Okay. Where is your habitual abode? Okay. Of course, you can play around with this legally, efficiently. So you can design your life based on regulatory matters or adapt it so that you can optimize your taxation. Because, for example, you can live legally in, I don't know, Malta or Hong Kong or Thailand and only pay taxes when you repatriate your money. That means
Mm-hmm.
that if you leave it out, you don't need to pay anything and you're doing everything legally. So there are many nuances in the global taxation industry that are still not known by the most, but we engrave our culture on tax nomadism so we can give the perfect solution after we analyze and we assess the needs of the single person, because it's not one size fit all approach, and it depends on multiple factors such as assets, such as family, where the family lives, such as simply where the people you care the most are, where is the majority of your real estate, for example, and other factors like this. But it
Okay.
all starts with a small assessment and understanding where are you located and where you will be located and what you want to achieve.
Okay. And on the subject, is there a common error that people make that you can talk about in terms
Yeah,
of? I know tax planning is
there,
fundamental.
there is there is a very common mistake that people make. They say, "Ah, yeah, but I'm living 190 days in Cyprus, so I need to be taxed in Cyprus." No. If my family lives in Barcelona, my kids go to school to Barcelona, my grandmother is in Barcelona, and my dog goes to the vet in Barcelona, and I live in Cyprus, even for 365 days. You know where you pay your taxes, Victor? In Barcelona, because your center of the vital interest is there. So there is no shortcut. You need to plan things properly, okay, and you need to make things so that you are basically assessed on a proper base. So there is no shortcut. There is a lot of knowledge that is missing in people, and the only way to avoid taxes legally, because there is avoidance and optimization, two different things. I don't incentivize people to cheat. People should do things legally, but to do things legally they need to understand what they can do and what they cannot. And remember, law doesn't admit ignorance. You see, I'm having a ray of light while I'm saying this. This is God that wants me to tell the truth about taxation. There is no ignorance in tax, because if you make a mistake, you cannot say I didn't know. You get punished, and you don't want to do that.
Okay. And in a country such as Spain, where there's a lot of new startup, the ecosystems are growing quickly. There's a, I don't know, just Barcelona seems to be, and Madrid also, but
Beautiful.
Barcelona because I live here. Uh, just it's very trendy. It's on the vanguard. People are moving to Barcelona faster than ever before. How can monks support companies and entrepreneurs who are choosing to start up their companies or grow them here?
Uh, Two factors. One, we can support them to pitch investors and to design their company structure so that they can attract funds from investors. Investors are the lymph for startups ecosystem to grow. Second, since we have 15 branches around the globe, we can support the companies with an international expansion so that we can connect to global players for a faster growth of their company. Not just as a faster growth in terms of investor, but also in terms of clientele. For example, connecting uh, Spanish companies to accelerators in Hong Kong. There is a lot of appetite for Chinese entrepreneurs to get in touch with European companies, to get technology from there. And since we live this dualism between Asia and Europe, we are the best position to support companies to bridge to East.
Okay, very helpful. When you were talking about startups, and apologies for my ignorance here, sometimes startups, in the minds of some people, they're like micro companies, and some of them are like, have some traction and they're growing. Some of them are sometimes called scale ups, and
30,
depending on whether in the US or here.
30 seconds to say that. A startup is something that, in my definition of startup, is scalable, disruptive, and satisfy a social need. Is Uber a startup? Yes. To me, it's still a startup. You know why? It's still scalable, it's still disruptive, and still is satisfying a social need. All right. So a startup, it doesn't just relate on the size. It relates to a potential scalability, disruptiveness in terms of disruptiveness of an industry, and the fact that satisfies social need. Is Uber satisfying a social need? Yes, it is. Think about Mexico City, right? You know how many kidnappers there were in Mexico City before Uber? Double in cars. Uber tracks them, right?
Interesting.
So this is my definition of startup: scalable, disruptive, and satisfy social need. I'll tell you one more thing, Victor. I'm not interested in working in companies that don't have these three potentials because they will die. Because there is a thing called digital Darwinism that will bring to extinction all those companies that don't disrupt, don't scale, and don't satisfy social needs.
Okay. And is there a minimum size organization or investment check that Monx is interested in? Is there a sweet spot? Are you guys
It's We are open. Nothing. There is no barrier because a company might need small amount of money to do the first step, or might need a bigger amount of money to do the extra step. It depends on the life of the company. To me, it's the quality of the entrepreneur, the quality of the team, the quality of the individual, the company of the idea, the elegance of the idea, what they stand for, that will attract me more than the financial part. The financial part is a byproduct, is a consequence. The most important thing is the idea behind, and of course, the execution team that it's will bring the idea at the next level. Ideas are cheap. Execution, it's what
okay?
lead the idea, but
Well, I'm looking at I've been very involved with the startup ecosystem here in Barcelona for the last 20 years. And, so there are startups in the 300,000 range, and there are startups that are looking, to write a $10 million check. Um, is there, these are both ranges that you can support or that you're interested in
absolutely.
supporting?
Absolutely. From pre-revenue,
Okay.
easy, to like big scale ups. It's fine. It depends. I mean, and the match could be with either business angel, people in the same industry, or VCs. Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
I'm
Excellent.
I'm
Well,
actually a
another
big.
question that
I'm
I have
actually.
is,
Please. Yeah, you say, you
No,
say.
sorry, I felt like I cut you off. You're actually
Yeah. I'm actually a big fan of finding investors in the same industry rather than finding cold cash from VCs. So like people that can, like we call it smart money, people that have an actual interest in the venture that they are about to support, rather than somebody that is like investing money for a quick turnaround or a quick flip of money. So I like to see those kind of things like smart money entering, putting cash, but also putting knowledge, expertise, network.
okay. Let me ask you, since you've been seeing people around the world, and now that you're in Spain, you've landed here. What are some of the common challenges that you've observed from emerging entrepreneurs and digital nomads in España?
Yeah. Uh, Market size. There is a tendency to focus often on uh, on the market where you are located right now. While, in my opinion, it's important to test the market where you are without obsessing on the market that you are and already having a global vision, because market size in Spain, it's like in Italy, regretfully small. Also, there is not much, beside Barcelona, there is not much of a startup culture. Most of the time, startuppers are considered as glorified unemployed. So it's like you're a startupper means that you are half unemployed and you're trying something out, which is not the case. While in Silicon Valley and other jurisdictions, they are almost like uh, mysticized as like the entrepreneurship gods. While in Barcelona, I mean, while in Spain, there is still a little bit of a stigma on startuppers. Uh, See what I mean? They are maybe not the coolest still. I mean, they are trying. And but rather than that, I think market size and access to capital is still the most challenging part.
All right. And in terms of being able to advise them of these challenges, particularly market size and basically access to capital, how do you advise the companies here?
Having a global vision, not just focusing on Spain, but having an international team going to London. London is very close to Barcelona. We have a lot of events in London. We have a lot of Spanish startups coming to our office in London. We have an office in London, which is the bridge to many of those startups to scale internationally. Until until things will come to Spain, because I am sure that at some point things will get much better than they are right now. We are on the right way, especially in Barcelona. I cannot comment on other cities of Spain because uh, I don't know them as well, but I feel that Barcelona is still the most advanced in this regards.
Okay. And on the subject of nomads again, you had earlier mentioned the importance of the jurisdiction that you're residing in, and how can you give a little bit more of an example or expand on how tax residency is determined?
Yeah, I mean, tax residency is basically determined on the easiest question is, where do you call home? It's as easy as this. Basically, where is the center of your vital interest? It's not about your work, it's not about your job, it's not just about your assets, it's about where do you call home? Where is the center of the vital interest? Where the scale is going in terms of assets, financial assets, physical assets, and spiritual assets, such as your family, such as
Mhm.
your vital interest. See what I mean?
So if for example, one thing that's popped up are people who are looking to comply with I think all the financial and fiscal requirements, but they might be moving to a tax haven or a lower tax, more tax efficient jurisdiction, um, and say their families here in Spain, but they want to go ahead and move to Dubai, for example. Is this something that you would advise them to do, or do they need to make sure that they are doing everything so that they are complying with what you just said, how they are changing their life to make sure that they are proper spiritual
Absolutely.
and financial compliance?
Absolutely. I mean, moving like physically to Dubai and leaving the family in Spain wouldn't change the tax position in Spain. They either move the whole family or they create a series of vehicles that will support them. But then we are entering the nitty gritty details. So I prefer to not to discuss it as openly because I might trigger to decisions that are too rushed, but you can definitely structure something about this. Definitely having a family that stays permanently in Spain while you pretend that you're working in Dubai wouldn't help.
And no, I mean, well, I've seen a few like people who don't have spouses or children, and they're truly nomad. They're kind of trying different places out, and that might be a little bit easier to justify. But I'm always a little bit
Absolutely.
suspect because Spain's pretty harsh.
Absolutely. This is easier to justify, much easier to justify, and this is something we can definitely work on especially tax nomads on a single basis. So we just need to be very careful to shelter certain expats in certain areas of their life and box that in a setting that will allow maximum tax efficiency.
Okay. Well, I think I have some people I need to recommend they speak to you as soon as possible. And then,
I'll be delighted. I'm a tax nomad myself. I'm right now in Thailand, but I spend most of my time on a plane. So catch me if you can.
okay. And then on another subject that's actually very popular is an increasingly interesting area is crypto. Can you talk a little bit about what is taxable for crypto investors and people who are
Every
fans of that?
every jurisdiction has. I will share with you a map after this call where if how much you tax if you sell one Bitcoin today, okay, around the planet. So what
Oh, that's
happens
interesting.
in Germany, for example, if you sell your crypto after 1 year, you will have zero taxes. If you sell within 1 year, you will have 20% taxes. If you sell in Italy after 1 year, capital gain will be taxed as if you sell it tomorrow. Hong Kong will never be taxed. And yeah, that's it. So every jurisdiction has its own tax rules. And it's very important, again, understanding that structuring, for example, a company that can transact in crypto so that this company will have the benefits of the jurisdiction where it's set up. See what I mean? So
I
again,
do. Okay.
crypto is very complicated. And one remark on crypto is if you think that nobody will see your wallet and you do your crypto transaction, you make your money and goodbye, that's not true because crypto, differently from cash transactions or financial transaction, it's written in the blockchain and it will stay there forever and they can track you down at some point. So it's very important to comply to the tax laws on crypto because are written in the blockchain. It's something that is absolutely unerasable.
Okay. Very good advice to keep in mind. Also, what's the top advice for to avoid certain tax risks when you're managing investments in Spain and abroad? I know that's a very open-ended, and because tax and immigration law are both very person-specific and location-specific. But I don't know if you can share a little bit of top advice that you would give to somebody who's interested in taking on Monx's services.
What I would suggest is that we run an assessment and we understand specifically because it's a very complicated area matter. Uh, let's say that again, the center of the vital interest is the what determines your tax residency. All right, that's the most important thing. Again, structuring vehicles and companies abroad in a very compliant way can mitigate, definitely, especially if you are doing business outside of Spain, your tax impact in Spain. But again, this is something that we need to handle with care, and uh, professional advice might be needed. Uh, be very careful to think that you don't get taxed if you're abroad and you live in Spain. So if your company is abroad and you live in Spain, because if you get money on your Delaware company and you say, I heard people say, no, I don't need to pay taxes, my company is in Delaware. It's not true. So be careful to that.
Okay. And then related to that, how can we stay compliant with Spanish tax laws and still plan effectively to reduce tax costs? It's kind of similar to the question that you were just talking about.
Again, we need to assess this. That's a very dangerous and risky area. So I prefer not to reply this question publicly. It's a little bit of a complicated and sensitive area. What I can tell you is we need to do things compliantly. Okay, I can see that there is a lot of like trying to escape taxes illegally. We need to be very careful to what we do, but it's important to talk to a professional about this. There are different ways, but I give you one general rule. If you want to deduct cost, the cost that you deduct must be incurred to the formation of your profit. That means that if you are a yoga instructor, you can deduct the cost of your yoga mat. But if you are an entrepreneur dealing in cryptocurrencies, you cannot justify the purchase of a yoga mat because you're stressed, because it's not directly correlated on the pursuit of your profit.
Okay. See, this is where I think Monx is going to help me, because I see a lot of really bad advice in chat rooms all around, and I'm not the expert, but I do know, or at least I don't know. I'm highly confident that a lot of the chat advice that I see, it can be easily misinterpreted, or is just flat out wrong.
Look,
And
Victor, what I can tell you is that on the 20th uh, of May, we will have a nice event, and as a token of appreciation for you having me, I will dedicate 10 to 15 minutes to anyone booking. First come, first serves for the first 15 people, and I will give you some high level tax advice to whoever is joining the event. So
okay, so
it will cost you a couple of glasses of Rioja, and we are even.
okay, now I start to understand why some of the tax advisors that I know that are really good tend to have a lot of love for beer and wine. First, the Monx thing, the beer and accounting together and tax planning. But I want to see if I want to invite as many people as I can to come and join your event. You say that's May 20th. Where is it going to be?
Correct. It's going to be. I don't know specifically the location. Judith, my beautiful GM in Spain, will give you more. It's going to be, I think,
At the
an
Barcelona
Attico.
Finance Hub is where I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, I believe so. I'll just flying in the morning and fly back and fly out at night. So I usually get brought around, and I'll be there. So
Okay. Well, we'll make sure to bring as many people as I can and tell them to bring some Rioja. You're going to get fantastic return on their investment of just getting your advice and learning a little bit more about what Monx is offering and how they can avail themselves of somebody who has been helping people navigate multi-jurisdictional tax filings. Maybe even help. You offering something that kind of was a surprise to me. The direct relationship between not only a person who can, or a team that can really help you run your business in Spain, but also a strong link to the investor community. That's something that I haven't
Absolutely.
really seen from tax advisors and accountants, international accountants before. So I think Monx has hit a very sweet spot, and I know a number of people that I'm going to strongly recommend they come and chat with you.
No worries. Come, bring friends and bring questions and be happy.
Excellent. Well, one last thing. How can people best get in touch with you?
LinkedIn, Stefano Passarello, Instagram, Stefano Passarello, Twitter, the Monks 555, or just my email, stefano@monks.team. I
Okay.
am
I'm
I'm
going to
actually
also
quite
let
happy
people
to
know
receive.
that if they haven't gotten in touch with Monx, they have a really cool office right here in the center of Barcelona, and they're celebrating just being here in Barcelona and growing, and getting them in touch with the financial and the startup ecosystem is just paramount. You got to go meet Monx. Stefano, you're fantastic, and you're funny too. And so we can talk about your running, your love of I guess sports and running. Can you talk one last thing? Personally, you're running and you're doing a lot of stuff for for exercise. What is it that makes, what is the link between you and the success of your company?
Well, I definitely there is a sport link, a fitness link. I feel that both my team bonds a lot when we do stuff together. Uh, when we go for a run, we go for a hike, and I could feel the sweating and a little bit of pain, physical pain, creates a bond. That's very important. On a personal level, I work out every single day, and I've been doing so for the last 20 years. Basically, the moment I started working professionally, uh, and I can feel a very strong correlation between my physical shape, the times of my marathons, and the performance of my company. Age adjusted, of course, because now I'm 43, and I beat my records when I was in my prime from 25 to, I would say, 32. But I'm still doing well. Now I'm doing it with my son, and I wish that he can become a very good runner and a tax advisor, but I didn't tell him yet.
All right, so there's a strong correlation between your physical health and your basically your achievements in exercise as
Totally,
well as
and
financial health.
this is very scientific. Your brain and your calculus capacity and your cognitive performance, it's at the top when your body is well trained. It's science. I'm happy to share all links, and whenever you come into the session on the 20th, I can reply biohacking as well as taxes with the same level of confidence. I am a biohacker and a tax polyglot. That's all I do in my life, man.
I think that basically summarizes it well. Stefano, it's been a pleasure speaking with you. Welcome to
Likewise,
Barcelona.
Victor.
I think Judith's been a huge support system already, and we would love to see you here on the 20th. And I'd love to do more things with you with Monx. Don't hesitate to call if I can be of service.
Yeah.
Let me know.
Thank you. And now I can tell you one thing just before we wrap up. I was really impressed when I met you about your energy, about the fact that you try to involve new entrepreneurs in Barcelona. And I think that your job for a community like Barcelona is invaluable. There are not many connectors as you are, and the job that you're doing is absolutely amazing. And I will be very happy to support you every step of the way. So thank you, Victor, for giving me this chance.
Fantastic. I love your compliment. I will accept it humbly, but it's with people like yourself that make it easier to do this. And there's so many fascinating people. And because I've been on, I guess, in the ecosystem for the last 20 years, I meet a lot of really cool people that need your advice. They desperately need to make sure that they are properly positioned to scale globally. And people with you who have that vision, who can transmit that and convey the importance of being set up properly, it's really great to have you guys here. So thank you for setting up, and I look forward to seeing you soon. All
Absolutely.
right,
Bring the Rioja.
Stefano. Okay, I will definitely do that. Take care, brother.